Hello again, and welcome to the Comprehensive Philippine Guide, your place to come to for information about living in the Philippines, migrating to the Philippines, and general information in the Philippines. Today, I'm going to actually respond to a question by a subscriber, Mr. Arnold Johnson, and he did ask a very good question, and a question that is relevant to what's going on. And his question was that what is my opinion on how the cost of living will change once the Philippines reopens for tourists and for people to come back there. And one of the things, first of all, I don't think the Philippines is going to open for tourists for the remainder of this year, 2021, and maybe even in 2022, because things do move very slowly in the Philippines. And sometimes what can go fast in a first world country takes a very long time to happen in the Philippines. So I think they're not going to be opening for tourists very soon. Of course, if you're married to a Filipina or you're traveling to the Philippines, you can go back under the Balikbayan program, which they have reinstated. So some foreigners can still go back. In terms of prices in the Philippines and what would happen once things reopen, I think definitely you're going to see a very big increase in prices. And from the contacts that I have with people there already, many people have indicated that prices have actually started going up and have increased quite a bit. A lot of people may not be feeling it that much, and even in first world countries, people may not be feeling it that much, but it may just be sometimes 25 cents, 50 cents, a little bit of an increase. In the Philippines, it might be a 20 peso or a 30 peso. But when you have something that costs 100 pesos a kilo before and is now costing you 130 pesos a kilo, it means that that is a 30% increase. That is a very significant increase. So definitely you're going to see a lot of things increase in price in terms of foodstuff and staples. In terms of vehicles and things like that, I'm not too sure if the prices will really go up on that, because a couple years ago they did have an increase in prices. It was a little bit subtle on the bigger vehicles, but if people kind of research, you'll realize that the bigger vehicles, the prices did increase. In terms of renting, I don't think that is going to increase that much, because there is a big supply of empty rental places in the Philippines, especially a lot of the condos that people had hoped for the Airbnb income and other foreigners renting. There's lots and lots of vacancies. So I think that rental may actually even go down a bit. It may not go up. In terms of living in the province, again, property rental may go down. I think building a house might start to become a bit more expensive. Labor probably will not go up that much, because again, you're going to have a bigger supply of labor than demand. But in terms of the materials, those things will go up. People that I have spoken to who are in the Philippines right now building a house have said that things such as cement and steel, what they call rebar, those things have already started increasing, and there is a significant increase in those. So definitely, if you're going to be going to the Philippines as a tourist when things reopen, do expect the prices to have increased. Even the resorts, they may increase their price. That, again, I'm not sure, because they may try to attract people. So there may be some sort of a price war in terms of who can offer the best prices. But I think that the resorts, for all intents and purposes, may still be about the same. The hotels may be about the same. But overall, I think you're going to see some price increase, because the thing is that the Philippines government, like many governments across the world, have expended a lot of money on this pandemic to try to keep everything in check. And obviously, they cannot pick money from a tree or print money, well, unless you're the US government. But otherwise, they are going to have to recover it somehow or the other. And the only way to recover it would be by increased fees and taxes and those types of things. And then the merchants obviously are going to pass it on to the consumer. So again, Arnold, thanks for that great question. I hope that I did clear it up for you. And if anybody else has some questions, feel free to post them up. I just wanted to touch also on the banking sector, because the last video I did do something about banking, and a couple people had messaged me and wanted to get some more details about it. And as I said, with regards to banking in the Philippines, it is very different to banking in a first world country. Now, if you're living in the province, one of the things that you may find is that there's just a couple ATMs in the province. And if you're dealing with a specific bank such as BPI or Metro Bank or any one of these, you may find that there's only one ATM that is in that province or that little city, as the case may be. And one of the things that you're also going to find is that more often the ATM is not working or it's down for service. So this tends to become a problem. The other thing that you're going to find is that there's very long lines when you go to the ATM, because one of the things that is occurring in the Philippines, or is a normal practice, is a lot of people who get these pensions or food cards or substance money from the government. They get it by a card, so they have to go to an ATM to withdraw the money. And many times you will find, especially around the time when people get these cards, someone will come to the ATM and they're coming with cards from the people in their little village. So you'll have somebody who comes to the ATM with 15 cards, doing 15 transactions. So again, this is something you have to think about in terms of the ATM. Also, when you go to the banks, some of the banks, it's a very long wait and a very long line. It's not uncommon to spend 2 or 3 or 3 hours or half a day in the bank to try to make a deposit or a withdrawal. And then when you get to the teller, many times the system is down or it's not working. So you would have a lot of issues with the banking in the Philippines in terms of the ATM, in terms of the bank. If you're living in the city, if you're living in Cebu or Manila or Makati, that's not so much of a problem. Sometimes if the ATM is down, you can pretty much find another ATM not too far away. If you go to a bank and things are not working, they tend to get it back up pretty quickly. I just wanted to give a little update on that in terms of the banking, and let people know some of the challenges that you'll face. Another challenge that you may face also is if you go to withdraw a large sum of money, the bank is not always amicable to give it to you or give you quickly. So you have to keep these things in consideration when dealing with the banking there. It's always best to have cash. If you're going to the Philippines, you can walk with your cash. If you're taking US dollars, which is best, take $100 bills. If you take smaller denominations, you're also going to run into problems where many places, even the banks, will not take 5s, 10s, or 20s. So $100 bills are your best bet. You can change them very easily at the airport, even at the malls. There's change centers. Don't worry too much about going to the bank to change your money. You go to a change center in the airport or at the mall, you're pretty much going to get the same exchange as what you would get in the bank. It's not like in the first world countries where the bank gives you the best rate. Pretty much anywhere you go to change your money, you're going to get about the same rate. But you have to remember, $100 bills are always the best to come with. So I just gave this little update to answer the question of a subscriber and give some information about the banking. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. We're going to have regular videos giving you information, and feel free to put up your questions. I'm going to answer them, and hopefully the Philippines is going to be up and running pretty soon and we can all get back there. Everybody take care and God bless.